Enlightened.
Life is like a box of chocolates. It's one of his wise sayings. You never know what you're going to get.
See, this is my gold bowl.
Oh, that's the one?
Yeah.
Crystal one?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's how I sound. Lovely. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
They ring forever.
Yeah. With a buy a Maserati.
Me too.
I'm going to buy a Maserati. Oh. Mm-hmm. All of yours about that size, or?
The copper one is a C. Well, that's a C though. Yeah, there's just different sizes. I don't know how they figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know if it was different octaves or what.
And then they have, like in the store, they have like giant ones, but I'd be too afraid of breaking it.
I had a beautiful, what was it? It was cobalt blue. And I was doing a program in New York City, and I had him up on a desk, and the big one jumped up on the floor. And I said to myself, doesn't want to be a bowl anymore. And sure enough, it was not a bowl anymore. It was a bowl in spirit, but it graduated. I didn't really mind. It's like, oh well. Greetings, my friends from near and far. I see we have Charles in Orinda, wherever Orinda at. I think it's Florida. Welcome, Charles. We usually don't see you signed in. It's really nice to have you. There you go. Hello from Florida, Charles. That's great. Charles usually lives up in Chicago, remember?
Yes.
Yeah. Lovely Charles. Wow. Well, welcome, my friend. Welcome to the live stream this evening. One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was the energy field of the aura and how, in fact, it's this vibrational energy of color, light, sound that vibrates around us. And just like a movie, the camera light goes through the film, and upon the screen, reality plays. It's just that we have 7 different projectors projecting all at once, from the base of the spine, survival of the body, clear up to the top of the head, connection to source, to spirit. And so, if you can imagine this montage of 7 movies playing simultaneously, and as it vibrates out in holographic 3-dimensional reality, it creates your experience. And we have been taught, of course, within our paradigm that if we keep changing what's on the screen, we'll feel different. But can you imagine going to a movie and it's a horror movie and you're not really liking it? So you get out your eraser and you walk up to the screen and you start erasing. Well, nothing's going to happen. It's still going to be projected on your hand, and the audience is going to get fussy with you because you're blocking this great horror movie that's taking place. We have to put a different film in. And as we put a different film in, and then the light focuses upon it, it automatically plays upon the screen. There's no effort to us. You see, that's one of the things that we find within our reality, that most of us believe it takes a lot of efforting to create reality, to make it happen. Masters such as Jesus were able to simply focus the light, which is the divine masculine. The mind is silent. It's a focused instrument of attention and simply light. That's true power. That's what the divine masculine is. And as Jesus was able to focus the light, hold it attentive upon imagination. And what was the imagination? It's the feminine, it's the film, it's the feeling. And as light, just like in a movie, shines through the film, it automatically creates this beautiful, excuse me, image of holographic loaf and fish that the ioma, the substance of creation, simply gathers and precipitates particles around, and life unfolds. And so, in a very similar way, when we learn to really hone and refine our consciousness and learn to simply hold the mind attentive, and feelings of prosperity and feelings of peace and great love, happiness within, it vibrates out and it begins to attract back to us those things. And so we then meet reality by having it established within. Within that, I was doing a session the other day for a woman up in the Bay Area. And when I looked at her aura, her energy field, there was this beautiful amethyst light above. She had had incarnations in Machu Picchu, which is a sacred, very quiet, centered society where people came and then learned about spirituality. The people in Machu Picchu didn't go out as teachers, they simply stayed there and then gathered the initiates, the people to them. And so she was now back this incarnation to learn how to bring the light of the high initiatory energy down into the body, because the physical form now for all of us who are on a spiritual pathway, it's now the temple. It used to be in incarnations of old, the temple was Machu Picchu, it was Egypt, it was Greece, Persia, and we as initiates, we were within the temple and everything came to us and then we taught. But the world didn't change much. And so we are now back in mass, and we have decided that the way to really change the world is to be able to vibrate in mass through the physical body, through this temple, the living light. And as we do, it connects together my energy field with your energy field, with this energy field over here, and then with this one. And pretty soon we're creating a web a beautiful web that has the structure of the star tetrahedron, the hexagon. It begins to literally circumvent the planet. And as more and more people are coming online with this light activation, creating this living web, it's not by making the web or wanting to make it the web. It's by simply holding the vibration of love and peace and joy within, and knowing from this deep feeling level that I am the living light. I am connected to the living light from source inside out. So many people, as this woman that I was reading, they're looking for the light. And so there's this spiritual light above, and they're wanting to go back up to it, go back to the temple. But then it creates nothing but problems and travail in this woman's life, a feeling of powerlessness, a very beautiful aura on the left side, which is the feminine, much love and happiness and peace within the feminine. But the masculine was powerless. And because it was powerless, even though she was holding the divine feminine in a sacred space, so to speak, whatever came along that then was out of sync and out of harmony, it simply began to push at her. And so her relationships created her to feel powerless. Um, Things would happen in her life where prosperity wasn't flowing. There was dis-ease happening in some of the people around her, constant powerlessness, because it was simply source, spirit saying that you must learn to discipline the mind and no longer trying to keep changing things out there to really create a reality of happiness and peace. And if you discipline and hold the mind steady and simply return back within and feel what's already there, this beautiful heart of love, this deep feminine feeling essence, great intuition, some creativity. And then you're focusing the mind upon those feelings and loving self. As you love the self, the body begins to vibrate at that frequency. It allows more of that which is the soul to enter into the body. And over time, you come to this great place where we who are gathered here know and understand that then the doorway opens. And the doorway is within the heart. As the doorway opens, literally, source, spirit arises forth from within. And it's this living web of light that is now exuding up and out like a living spring. It goes from me, it goes to you, it goes to this person over here. I'm not trying to make it happen. I'm not trying to do it. It simply is an organic, flowing, growing reality, just like a flower grows organically, like a crystal that's sequestered deep within the mountains. It simply grows in this beautiful crystalline structure. It's the intelligence of a higher source energy that simply knows if we come to this place of love and light and peace, and now it emanates from us, we become the living light. And if I am the living light and you are, and now this beautiful organic web of living light is now circumventing the earth, it then creates this new paradigm that all of us know that we're stepping into. That really began in 2012 with harmonic convergence, and now really moving very rapidly. And as we're moving rapidly and more of us are becoming connected on this grid, it's creating so much light and so much energy that that which does not vibrate to it, which is a great deal of planet Earth and the people on it, it begins to create chaos. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. We, of course, have great compassion for those that are going through it. The chaos is seeking to move them to a place of awakening, just as this woman that I was reading up in the Bay Area, it was the chaos that she kept meeting in her life. It was simply her soul knocking on her door. Would you like to learn to make some changes within because you can well see that whatever you keep doing without is only more suffering. And so we see that this is really what's taking place within the world. We don't mind it, we don't dislike it, we don't judge it, we don't criticize it. If we judge it or criticize it, it literally takes a little thread of energy from us, from our third chakra, which is our power center, and it goes out and it says, I want to make that different. I don't like that. That displeases me. And so we are then connected from our third chakra because we're trying to manipulate what's going on. And now we're connected from our power center and we begin to feel powerless. We feel disconnected. We're no longer holding the mind steady and focused upon the heart of I am the light of creation. I am love and joy emanating. And so it then begins to pull literally at the third chakra. And then we're connected into the dark web. And how do we then begin to learn once again to let go of that? By letting go of judgment, of criticism, of dislike. It's simply life seeking to know itself by playing within the darkness. You and I, in our incarnations long ago, we played the same games of manipulation, control, wanting, needing, anger, frustration. But we then grew. We then realized that this, when I feeling that, it's within me. And because we changed that which we are, we then meet a different reality that is now so filled with grace, so filled with goodness. And so everything that's happening is simply the movement of life through mud, through fertilizer. It's just like when you have some really great bullshit or horse manure and you put it in a field, the wheat will grow beautifully, or if wheat is not planted, then the weeds will grow beautifully. And so there's just a whole lot of horse manure going around the world today. And if you dislike the horse manure, you then begin to say, well, I don't like the smell of that because it bothers me. Well, the reason it bothered you is because there is some feeling within of what you're experiencing out there. If something out there is making you angry or you're disliking it, it's simply something within your energy field that has a similar vibration. And so it then gives us the chance to look at that, but then not judge it or criticize it, but then come back within and say, okay, what within me feels disempowered? What within me feels lonely? Maybe abandoned, maybe sad. And if we then open the heart where the divine source of God I am, the being we know that we truly are, light encoded, we reach down inside and we begin to love and honor and feel that emotion. As we don't dislike it or judge it, we can begin to slip through it. We find the part of self that wasn't loved, and as we adore and cherish and love that which we are, source incarnate, beings of living light, it then vibrationally comes back into life. And then the grid of living light that flows from us becomes even more potent and strong. And then the world changes even more. And we're at the tipping point now, you see, where the living light is now becoming so dynamic that the chaos really looks quite visceral. But it's the tipping point now where we're moving so dynamically into this new age that's before us. 2023 can be a little bit difficult, but I'm seeing 2024, particularly now into 2025, that things are going to change radically with light. It reminds me just a little bit of this program. You might have heard about it. It's called Chat GPT. It's a program of artificial intelligence, and it's accessed on your computer now. And it's a program that has taken everything that's ever been written or said or spoken or conversed or um, art, and it simply brings it all into its own knowledge base. And so you can then ask it a question, and with intelligence, it simply then brings an answer to that. Well, it's simply a cipher that this internet is becoming alive. But it's also, see, that it's this internet within you and I that is now connecting to everything and everyone in creation out there. And if I'm vibrating to the web of living light and you are, we then begin to have access to all the consciousness of the universe. The universe vibrates to golden liquid light. It's love, it's peace, it's joy, it's harmony, it's creativity. And because we're now vibrating to that, we are then connected to the internet, the mind of source throughout all creation. And through that, you see, we can then begin to create civilizations and structures and life anew that really is flourishing with beauty and grace. So that's where we're going. It's important to hold oneself dynamic and clear that from my heart, the living light flows. One of the things that we can, of course, be aware of throughout the day when we do get a little bit caught in some emotion or something that is bothering us, we're disliking it, if we just come back to the breath. We know in our work together that when we breathe and we do the breath work together, that the in breath is really summoning and calling source from inside out. The open doorway is there, and in breath, I'm bringing this living river of sunlight and peace from me. As I simply exhale and let go, it's feeding and nurturing the vibration of my body. It's flowing out into the world and all around me. And then there's no longer emotion. There's no longer connection to things that bother you. You've come back to the breath of oneness. And so it's a practice that we can use often throughout the day. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of practicing of that breath for about 5 minutes. When we breathe in deeply again from the open doorway, it's source arising forth. When I do my meditations, both morning and evening, that's really where I always begin. The open doorway is there, and with my breath, I begin to summon the liquid living light. I hold for a couple of counts, and as I gently exhale, I watch and feel liquid light, simply just like effervescent sunlight coming from me. I then sit silently for a moment, then back to in breath. My mind, my light, my attention is so focused upon the feeling of love and loving this feeling of light arising forth, it then increases in vibration every meditation. So once again, it's focusing the mind of the masculine attention upon the profound love of something, the living light, and it increases and flows out into the world. So let's do 5 minutes of deep in-breath breathing, summoning light. I always like to do this meditation with eyes open as I then practice it throughout the day, driving, walking, and gardening. So let's go ahead and breathe. We like to have the spine nice and straight. It is the rod of initiation. Between in breath and out breath, you can hold for a couple of counts. With each breath, body relaxing, mind becoming attentive, and the open doorway is flowing, living light. The more that you see and feel golden sunlight and peace arising, the mind makes it so. With each and every breath, I am the light. And slowly coming back into the now. I was explaining a little earlier that when you dislike or judge or criticize or hold negativity towards something in the world, it creates this little thread from your third chakra that you want to disempower it, you want to change it, you want to make it different. And when we simply do the breath work, all of those little threads, the little cords, they simply disappear. If you come back to criticizing and judging and disliking, once again, you create the cord. So it's why breath is such a beautiful tool that you can feel yourself kind of caught in what's going on in the chaos of the world, or you're driving, or you're flying, you're at work, you're not liking something, you're judging something, but you simply, with eyes open, take 3 minutes and breathe deeply and bring the living light from inside out. You're not only removing all the cords that are connected from you, but you're then literally feeding the life this new vibrational frequency. Become part of the solution. So it's very exciting. So we're going to go ahead and now move into the meditation, the magic of the star tetrahedron, which is what opens the sacred doorway within the heart. And the reason it opens is because the divine mind, masculine, has become quiet, attentive, and focused. And what is it focused upon? The feeling of love. It loves all things. And this is the divine feminine that loves unconditionally. And as we love, focus the light of the mind, and love unconditionally, we can be trusted with all the powers of heaven and earth. And so the doorway opens within the heart chakra, and from out of its source is then arising forth. And as we then focus the mind and love peace, now peace is arising forth and simply now holographically now flows from us. As we love prosperity, prosperity then is arising forth. It simply then vibrates out from us. And so it's source that is all things possible within, and we simply breathe it into creation. And because love and then light and power are now resting upon it, it simply vibrates out and holographically becomes ever more real. And so we truly become creators of our reality. We observe what's going on, we simply remove our attention and send love and light, come back to Creator being I am. So let's go ahead and close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. And once again, we can be aware of our breath work. We know that we're already breathing source from the open doorway. When we arise in the morning is our first breath acknowledgement. I bring source into my life. And as we feel the body relaxing, we bring our attention between the eyebrows. We imagine that we could draw a line straight back. And within the approximate center point of the head, we ignite the light. an outpost of divine light from the soul, the living light. Holding attention here, light increasing, the focusing of mind and light. We bring the attention down to the heart chakra at the sternum, where we image in divine feminine. We image in the star tetrahedron, power and love unified. It is in front and back and all around. And as it turns, it opens the sacred doorway within the heart. A pure opening of living light, spirit, source arising forth. Touching the facets of the spinning star, and we emanate living light all around. I am the living light. Focusing the mind, bringing joy, light, and peace. Let's sit quiet together, and I will gather with you, and we will ignite the grid of living light between us and all around the planet. And welcome back. Unless someone floated away. I encourage you to practice your meditation at least once or twice a day. It's quite important as we're going through this great change upon the planet to really be focused in honing, refining your light activation. If, again, it's too easy to get caught up in what's going on in the world around us, and then the little threads of energy from the third chakra. We're disliking it. We want to make it different. I was listening to a podcast recently by Zach Bush, who I highly respect, and he put a very interesting spin on the big oil companies. You know, most of us have a feeling that we don't like them, that they're gouging us. And he was saying such a beautiful spin that it's because of all the petroleum that we have brought and the oil companies have brought from out of Earth and then changed into carbon that was in the atmosphere, CO2. As we begin to sequester it and bring it back down into the Earth grid, it will be something that will allow the flourishing of plant life like never seen before on the planet. So I thought it was a very interesting take. So rather than giving them a hard time or judging or criticizing, he was coming to this place of what are the possibilities. I was really quite moved and taken by that. If anyone is interested in that podcast, please let me know. It's quite wonderful. Of course, I want to thank you for joining in with us this evening. Quite an exciting and dynamic meditation tonight. And we'll look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, my friends. So enjoy your breath work, enjoy your meditation, and good night.